In a hidden base far from the eyes of the Galactic Council, humanity's leaders gathered for a meeting that would change the course of their history. This was no ordinary briefing. It was the beginning of a movement, a declaration of defiance against a regime that had ruled for far too long. The Council had stripped humanity of its autonomy, imposed its will with merciless force, and dismissed humanity as too weak to resist. But today, that was about to change. Commander Aria Stone addressed the assembly, her voice steady and filled with conviction. We've hidden in the shadows, building our strength. But now it's time to let the Council know we will not remain silent any longer. Humanity will reclaim its freedom. Among those gathered was Dr. Ava Chen, the tactical genius who had helped craft humanity's fleet. Beside her stood Marcus Kane, a seasoned pilot who had led countless missions, each one bringing them closer to the point of open defiance. Together, they represented the courage and resilience of a race that had endured much and was ready to take back its destiny. We can't win this war with stealth alone, Ava said, her gaze intense. The Council must understand that we are no longer their subjects. We need to make our intentions clear, to let them know that humanity has a voice, and it won't be silenced. Aria nodded, turning to the holographic transmitter that would carry their message. The plan was to send an encrypted broadcast, a message of defiance that would reach the Council's highest command. It was a risky move, but one that was necessary to show their resolve. Humanity was not asking for permission, they were demanding independence. As the message was prepared, Aria chose her words carefully, each one a blade meant to cut through the Council's arrogance. To the Galactic Council, she began, her voice unwavering. This is humanity's declaration of freedom. We will no longer live under your rule. We are prepared to defend our sovereignty by any means necessary, recognize our independence, or face the consequences. The message was broadcast across secured channels, reaching the Council's command centers and echoing throughout their networks. It was a bold statement, a spark meant to ignite humanity's stand against tyranny. As the transmission ended, silence fell over the room. They had taken their first step into open defiance. Now, all they could do was wait for the Council's response, a response that would determine the fate of humanity's rebellion. The Council's response came swiftly, a transmission that filled the hidden base with the cold, dismissive tones of Council authority. On the screen appeared a high-ranking Council representative, a figure draped in flowing silver robes, with piercing eyes that radiated contempt. The Council had received humanity's message, and they were not impressed. Humans! The representative's voice was laced with disdain. You forget your place. We have tolerated your existence, allowed you to thrive under our protection. Yet you dare to defy us? He paused, his gaze hardening. This insolence will not be tolerated. Your attempts to claim independence are laughable. Submit or face annihilation. In the command room, a mixture of anger and determination sparked in the eyes of humanity's leaders. Ava's fists clenched, and Marcus's jaw tightened as they listened to the Council's threats. They had expected resistance, but the Council's condescension only solidified their resolve. This wasn't just a power struggle, it was a battle for dignity, for the right to determine their own fate. Aria's eyes never wavered as she watched the screen. When the transmission ended, she turned to her team, her voice a calm but defiant strength. The Council thinks they can scare us into submission. They believe that we'll back down and return to our chains, but they don't know us. Marcus nodded, his face set with grim resolve. We've fought for every inch of freedom we have. They may have power, but they underestimate the strength that comes from fighting for something we believe in. The team exchanged glances, each member feeling the weight of what lay ahead. They knew that challenging the Council was a gamble, that the odds were heavily stacked against them. But they also knew that they couldn't turn back now. Every threat, every dismissive word from the Council only fueled their determination. Then we move forward, Ava said, her tone fierce. This won't be an easy fight, but it's one worth having. We'll show them that humanity isn't just another subject race. We're capable of fighting for our own destiny. Aria gave a nod of approval. We'll double our efforts. The Council may have power, but they lack the one thing that unites us. A reason to fight beyond control. We're defending our future, our freedom, and that gives us strength they can't understand. As they began preparing the fleet for mobilization, there was no more doubt. Humanity's stand against tyranny was no longer just an idea, it was a reality. In the following days, humanity's fleet mobilized with a new sense of purpose. Engineers and technicians worked around the clock, fortifying the ships and preparing them for the inevitable clash with the Council's forces. Pilots reviewed battle strategies, studying every detail of the Council's formations, aware that they would be facing an adversary with far superior numbers and resources. But fear had no place here, only a fierce resolve to protect what was theirs. Commander Aria Stone observed the preparations, her gaze unwavering. She moved through the base, offering words of encouragement to the crew, ensuring every member understood the significance of their mission. The Council had dismissed them as a minor nuisance, a group that could be crushed without a second thought. But humanity's fleet was a symbol of defiance, a testament to the strength born from a desire for freedom. Among the pilots was Lieutenant Kara Rios, known for her sharp instincts and unwavering confidence. Her reputation as a skilled fighter preceded her, and her passion for the cause was evident in every word she spoke. As she briefed her squadron, her eyes burned with a fierce intensity. "Make no mistake," Kara told them, her voice strong and steady. "The Council sees us as nothing more than an inconvenience. But when we meet them in battle, they'll see who we truly are. We've trained for this. We've sacrificed for this. And now, it's our time to prove ourselves." The pilots nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination. They understood the risks, the daunting odds they faced, but Kara's confidence was infectious, her words igniting a fire within each of them. They knew that every maneuver, every shot, could mean the difference between survival and defeat. Back in the command center, Aria stood with Ava and Marcus, reviewing their battle strategies. Ava's mind worked at lightning speed, calculating every possible outcome, every move the Council might make. "We need to anticipate their response," she said, her voice filled with urgency. "The Council will send a fleet far larger than ours. If we're going to survive, we'll need to outmaneuver them, hit their weak points, and make every strike count." Aria nodded, a spark of determination in her gaze. "Then that's what we'll do. They may have numbers, but we have something far more powerful. Our will to fight, to defend our future." The preparations were complete. Humanity's fleet was ready, standing as a beacon of defiance. They had sent their signal, and now they waited for the Council's response. The galaxy would soon witness humanity's stand against tyranny. The Council's response came swiftly, with reports indicating that a massive fleet had been mobilized, its course set directly for humanity's hidden base. It was a display of sheer force, intended to intimidate and crush any lingering hope of rebellion. But instead of fear, humanity's leaders felt a steely resolve. They knew that this moment was the culmination of everything they had prepared for. As humanity's fleet gathered in formation, Commander Aria Stone stood at the forefront, her gaze fixed on the stars. Beside her, Ava and Marcus monitored the incoming data, analyzing the Council fleet's approach. The difference in scale was staggering, but numbers were only one part of the equation. Humanity had purpose, and that purpose had driven them to defy the odds from the beginning. On the communications channel, Aria addressed the fleet. "We've spent years in the shadows, building our strength, waiting for this day. The Council thought we would submit, that we would cower beneath their rule, but they underestimated us. Today, we show them that humanity stands united, unbroken, and unafraid." Throughout the fleet, the words resonated deeply, each crew member feeling the weight of their mission. Every ship, every pilot, every officer was part of something greater than themselves, a movement for freedom, a stand against oppression. And now, as they stared down the approaching Council armada, they felt the strength of that unity. Marcus, seated at his controls, turned to Aria, his expression a mix of determination and excitement. "I don't know about you, Commander, but I think it's about time we show the Council what humanity's really made of." Aria allowed herself a slight smile. "Agreed. Let's remind them that they're not invincible." As the Council's fleet drew closer, Ava activated the tactical systems, calculating precise strike points where their smaller, more agile ships could exploit weaknesses. This wasn't a battle they could win with brute force, but with strategy, coordination, and the unyielding will of every person who had dedicated themselves to this cause. The first shots were fired, bright streaks of energy piercing through the void as humanity's fleet moved into position. The Council's ships responded with overwhelming firepower. but humanity's pilots maneuvered skillfully, evading and retaliating with precision. The battle was fierce, intense, a clash between a force driven by control and a force fueled by freedom. In that moment, humanity's stand against tyranny was realized, a declaration written in fire and resolve. They knew the fight would be long, that victory wasn't guaranteed, but they also knew they were ready for whatever came next.